Hey everybody, Adam here with Hometown Acres. Welcome back. We have a firewood delivery that we're going to be taking out. It is the end of January, and some of my repeat customers are just now putting in their firewood order for this year. They had a bunch that was left over from last year that they had to work through before they wanted a new order, and so they messaged me the other day, said, hey, can we get another quart of firewood? I said, sure. They said, I want your driest stuff you have. They don't want any water burning out of the ends or anything like that, which, if you know anything about buying, making, or selling firewood, you know, the best time of the year to get the driest firewood is the end of January, right? That's sarcasm if you couldn't pick up on it. Best time to get dry firewood if you're buying it from somebody is October, November. You're going to get their oldest stuff. January, February, a lot of the drier stuff is already sold. Like right now, I've got some stuff that's been down for 7-8 months. It's probably okay, but I wouldn't be able to guarantee that there wouldn't be any sizzlers in there. So today we're going to go ahead and do two things to take care of that problem. One is going to be more for next year, which is going to be making more firewood today. And the second one is going to be, we're going to be flipping some firewood. I'm going to be going over to Matt's from Firewood Guy of PA. He is the only person that I would trust to resell their product and put my name on it, because he sells kiln-dried firewood. So that's what we're going to be doing today, making some firewood. We got to get these last 3 totes out of the way. From when we made firewood last, put 3 new totes in, try to make 3 baskets, and then we'll go up and get a quart of kiln-dried firewood from Matt. So yeah, guys, here is the status of the wood yard right now. Everything over here in chronological order is the stuff for next year. So that will be the oldest stuff that I have to sell for next year, working our way to the stuff we just put in. This is everything I have that I split last year, but the oldest stuff I have right now is from summer. So June, July, August starts down there, you know, September, October, November, December, and then January. So, I mean, some of this stuff, I probably have enough that I could have taken a cord to these guys, but again, there's just no way to know for sure that there's not going to be a single stick in here that isn't going to be bubbling water out. It all depends on the species. I mean, for maple and cherry, 6 months is enough time. Depending on the weather conditions that it was sitting in, if it was hot, dry, and windy, it'd be good to go in 6 months. But if it's oak, that takes 2 years, and then I'm going to have unhappy customers. So I'm going to do the safe thing here. You know, my 2 options are to just tell them that I'm out. You know, it's January. If you wanted good dry wood, you should have contacted me October, November, or find a solution to the problem, and that is to resell somebody else's wood that I know is going to be just as high quality, if not even a little bit better than what I typically sell. All right, guys, so there is another cord of firewood, which is a step in the right direction for our firewood inventory for next winter, but that still doesn't help me for my repeat customer that wants a cord of dry firewood at the beginning of February here. So let's load up the dump trailer, hop in the truck, and I'll show you where I get my on-demand firewood whenever I need some in a pinch. All right, so we made it to our destination, Firewood Guy. This is Matt. We've been here probably, what, 2 or 3 years ago now. I think back then we had like 20 or 30,000 subscribers, and we're up to about 150. So yeah, we've got quite a few new people here that may not have seen your operation in the past. So I will leave a link to the video when we were here last time. But what I really want to focus on today is the kilns, because I've said it a million times, the worst part about selling firewood is how long it takes to make a good product worth selling. You can't just cut it, split it, and sell it and burn it the next day. It's a process, but with the setup you've got here, you've figured out a way to make on-demand, ready-to-burn firewood.
Yeah, the reason we went to kilns was because we started into the restaurant firewood business, and we quickly outpaced our seasoned wood for what their demand was, and we needed a way to fill the gap. And the kilns are a great solution because you can take green firewood today, and by Thursday of this week, it's dry, ready to burn. Drier than you can get it when you just traditionally season it.
And your guys' turnaround is pretty quick, because my firewood that I'm buying off of you today came out of the kiln this morning, yes, and you've already got them both reloaded again.
Both reloaded and ready to go, so that we have them done for Monday, Tuesday morning.
Yeah. Now, kilns are not a very complex thing. You need, what, like 3 things? You need heat?
You need heat, air circulation, and you need to vent them.
Yeah.
They're simple, but complex in and of themselves in their own way, because a lot of guys will make homemade versions where they feed them with wood, and with the amount of wood that they burn, you basically would be full-time staff just sitting there feeding them, loading it every 15 minutes. And these are automated. These ones burn waste wood, they don't burn gas. So these ones are automated on the waste wood side with a conveyor system, so we don't have to be here to load it every single minute.
Now, we've talked about this before when we looked at these. These hold 6 cords.
Yeah, 6
and
full cords.
You've got 2 of them sitting here that are running right now. So you can do 12 cords every
3 to 4 days.
Depends on the time of the year too, right?
Right. And that mainly comes from how cold the wood is when it goes in. So in the middle of wintertime, if it's 0 degrees out, the wood going in 0 degrees, versus summertime when it's 75, 80 degrees. So you've got to bring that wood up to temperature. And in the wintertime, that just takes longer because you're starting from a colder beginning temperature.
Yeah. You want to pop the door open here and we'll take a quick look at what's inside and kind of how they work. I know they're full of wood, so we won't be able to really get in there and see, but you've got them pretty jam-packed in there.
Yeah, they don't leave a lot of space because you want to force the air to go through the wood, not just around the wood.
Yeah.
But you give room at the bottom and the top with the legs so that that air can flow. And if you just stand here, you can feel the moisture.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's like humid air coming out.
Yeah. And then there's these probes. They get drilled in. There's 3 sets of probes through the kiln. They get drilled inside the wood, and then we read the internal wood temperature on the outside, so we know when it's heat treated.
You could actually see the steam coming out there. I thought the camera lens was going to get fogged over.
So it's kind of a misconception. Just opening the door for a few minutes to check them, because that's what we'll do. When they get close to the end, we'll open the door, we'll pull some wood out, take it in, split it, and take a moisture reading just to make sure it's dry before we ever shut the kiln down and switch it out.
Yep. So these are wood waste kilns. You're not burning natural gas or heating it with electric or anything like that?
No.
I want to take them back around the back side and show them the automated system for feeding the kiln.
Yeah. So this would be the normal waste that we pick up from our day-to-day operations. Comes in our dumpsters. We pick it up, stack it in the IBC totes, and let it sit here and dry and season. But these things burn so much wood. We start with, I don't know how many IBC totes we have, but
do you know what the yield is? So if you burn, like to dry 6 cords of wood, how many cords of wood do you burn?
It takes at least a full cord to dry 6 cords.
So it's not 6 versus 6. It's
no.
You burn 1 cord to kiln dry 6.
Right, and a lot of guys that get into the waste wood kilns, they think it's a great option because they can just burn their sawdust or they can burn the waste that comes off their processor. And what they find out is they don't make enough waste to feed the kiln, so then they end up cutting their own wood supply to make wood for the kiln. And that's where we bought both of these used, was guys who bought them and decided they didn't fit their operation, they upgraded or switched to gas. But for us, since we recycle so much waste wood, this stuff is just...
So I mean, you're not running a sawmill, are you?
No, we don't run a sawmill, but we do provide waste removal services for like 20 sawmills that are all close to here that don't have their own option.
Okay. So you're actually getting it from sawmills. They're paying you to take the wood away, right?
Well, right now we do that at no cost.
Okay, because it provides...
we bring it back here, and it either gets processed through the chipper or it goes through the horizontal grinder for mulch.
Well, that's kind of a win-win for both of you then.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, but as the operating costs go up and up, as the equipment costs go up, it's almost like, I don't know how long you can afford to do it for free.
Yeah. Yep.
But if you want to see the...
Yeah, I want to see the wood hopper back here.
This one actually has some wood in it that's not, that one's all the way up there, but this one's down lower. So we just load these baskets. This will be scrap wood, slab wood.
Now, how often is that cycling? Like, you know, this is obviously one fire here. Is that an hour? Is that half hour?
It depends on how dry the wood is you're using. So if this wood is green, it'll dump one of these baskets every 15 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And if it's dry, it'll burn hotter. It'll sit there, it'll count 15 minutes, and then if the firebox temperatures are still hot, it'll hold and just wait till the firebox temperature is lower enough, and then it'll dump another basket.
Okay.
So that 1 cord ratio is for dry wood being burned, not green wood. If we were to burn green wood, we would be twice that amount.
Because it's not burning as hot.
It's not, well, it just has to burn so much more wood because you have to drive the moisture out of this wood before it actually gives you BTUs, and then you dump another basket on top of that. You just keep, and sometimes even they overfeed because it takes so long for the temperature to get released on green wood. It'll actually jam up because it'll fill up the hopper and it won't burn down fast enough, and then the doors get jammed.
It'll think the fire went out. Meanwhile, it's still trying to catch.
Right.
Yeah.
So
is this the burn chamber back here?
Yeah.
I'm curious. I mean, is this basically an outdoor wood boiler? Is that?
It's all forced air, so there's no water. There's 2 chambers. There's this upper box here, and that's what they call a preheat chamber. So the top door will open, the conveyor advances 1 basket, it dumps it into here, it'll close the top door, which I can show you that. That door opens, basket dumps, and it'll close the door. And then you can set a preset time for how long you want your wood to pre-bake inside here. Like if you get green wood, you'll let it sit in there for like 5 minutes and get warmed up, and then it'll dump the lower doors, and that goes directly into the firebox.
Yeah.
It's also a safety feature so that this stuff's never directly exposed to the heat and the fire that exists inside.
So I got two questions for you. One, what is the cost of a kiln like this? And then two, what is the learning curve? I mean, how long did it take you to learn that? I mean, you pre-program 15 minutes, or does it manage itself?
You have to pre-program it's called like a count, and a count is 15 seconds, so you give it how many 15-second counts you want between baskets.
Yeah.
And then you adjust at what firebox temperature do you want it to dump a basket. And that's all, the learning curve is figuring out what is the appropriate firebox temperature that I should dump my wood in, that I'm not over firing the firebox, because you can get these too hot. Like this one here, this one burns a little bit cooler than this one. They're both the same units, but they're kind of finicky. This one will burn 1200, 1300 degrees, and this one it's kind of a struggle to get it to 1000.
Okay. So what's the cost on one of these?
I don't know today new, but when I bought them, a new one of these was about $125,000 to $150,000.
You gotta sell a lot of firewood to break even.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're quoting right now, we're looking at upgrading to a single cord, or I'm sorry, a single kiln that will dry as much as both of these together, but it burns a different type of fuel. Something we don't have to come here and load these baskets. It's got a hopper. You load wood chips in it.
Okay.
It's a larger version of one of these. It's one of these on steroids, really. And that kiln is $350,000.
See, you want bigger. I'm looking for something way smaller than this. I would love to have a kiln that could do, you know, 1 quart at a time. I mean, for the as small as my operation is, that's all the bigger I would need. And even that might be a little overkill. But very cool to check these things out, see how they work. So if I do decide to build my own, did you ever look into, I'm assuming not, because for what you're doing, a solar kiln just wouldn't make any sense at all.
Before I decided to buy one of these, I looked at every option under the sun to try and build one myself, because I just couldn't. I mean, I'm mechanically inclined, I can weld, I can fabricate, and I'm thinking I should be able to build one of these or do this, because it is fairly rudimentary, it's fairly simple. And through conversations with the kiln company and their explanations of why it's a bad idea to do that, like this one's gonna dump one right now.
See, that's the part right there that doing it yourself, you're not gonna get that kind of automation.
No,
yeah.
No, and that's where you gain a lot of their expertise, because they've been doing it for years and they've been figuring it out. You sit down, you could probably do it, but by the time you figure your time, labor, energy, you're better just to pay the person that does it every day.
You're gonna have just as much into it. Yep. So. All right, well, hey, let's go get my cord loaded up and I'll get out of your hair.
All right, sounds good.
Hey, so we just finished up that firewood delivery. I wanted to talk about a couple of things. The first is, am I making any money reselling somebody else's firewood? Now, I'm not going to give you specifics about what I paid for the wood and what I charged for the wood, but because it was kiln dried, I did charge more for the wood. But because I didn't make the wood, I actually made less in terms of profit margin, because I had to, what I paid for the wood cost more than what it cost me to make my own firewood. So I had to charge the customer more to make it worth my time to drive to Matt's to go pick it up, to then take it out for delivery. But what I actually made was less than what I would have made if I had sold him a quart of my wood. But the reason I agreed to do this, knowing full well that I was going to make less than I would selling my own wood, is keeping a repeat customer a repeat customer. If I tell them, no, I'm sold out this year, then maybe next year they call somebody else. So the idea here is not necessarily to get rich flipping somebody else's firewood, but to always tell your customer, yes, I've got something for you, I'll figure it out, I'll get you something this year that you can burn, and basically just saying yes and then figuring out how to solve the problem on the back end. Now, I still made money, don't get me wrong. I charged the customer enough to make it worth my time to do all that, but it was still less than what it would have been if I had sold my own firewood. Another thing I wanted to talk about is, does that bother Matt, the firewood guy, that I am buying something from him just purely to resell? And in my opinion, I don't think it really should matter. And Matt and I talked about this. He knows that I was reselling this. He didn't care. But some people, that might rub them the wrong way, that I'm paying X for their product, and then I'm turning around and selling it for more, and they just don't like that. But really, if you think about it, as long as they're getting their asking price for the wood, what I do with it after shouldn't matter at all. It doesn't affect them whatsoever. Whether I burn it, whether I sell it for more, whether I sell it for less, it's just completely irrelevant. At the end of the day, they're getting their asking price for it, and it's another quart of wood that they got to sell that they otherwise might not have. And especially in this instance, because Matt does not service the area that I just sold this firewood to. He sells to restaurants down in this area, but he doesn't do residential down here. So just a couple of things that I thought people might wonder about or comment about. Let me know in the comments below, if you were selling something and somebody was buying it from you and then selling it for more, would that bother you? I'm kind of curious to see what people have to say. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, give me a big thumbs up, click that subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.